In the bottom left position of 2,000 atmospheres to start things off, he's representing Kaitsu Gaming, and he is representing Zerg. He is Solar. And his opponent from the Diverging Swarm with a beautiful start to this one. A spawning pool first. He is Alpha X's own RAGNAROK. The end times. The end goal. Now, the big thing for Solar is he really does want to see this, because this is going to be a very, very aggressive push here from RAGNAROK. We've already got 6 Lings on the way and more to follow. RAGNAROK is almost going to be all in here. We see the drones moving across the map. Oh my goodness. RAGNAROK, you know how to start a grand finals, my dude. And you know what? In these kind of mirror matchups, I really like these kind of cheesy starts, because it shows your opponent, hey, I'm not afraid of you, but I don't want to play you in the later stages, so I'm going to end this as quickly as possible here. Now RAGNAROK does get his first spine crawler down, the second one as well. The Lings are plummeting through. The Lings of Solar are not yet complete. So this is already a pretty good start here for RAGNAROK. The pull is good from Solar, so he's going to keep these drones alive as long as possible, but he's just going to dive right on top of this. The Lings do pop from Solar, but they're popping at the natural base, so they're not really fighting together, so he will lose a good majority of those Lings. The Spines, so close to finishing, and they have so much health available on them. One of them will go down, but they are going to start to wail away on this. The drone's not really doing enough damage. Solar has just got the hold on. But as the seconds go by, that last spine is doing wonders here. Now Solar, keep in mind, he does have the same amount of workers. So RAGNAROK really does need to get rid of this production on this natural base. Otherwise, these Lings are just going to go across the map and crush him. I mean, things might have slowed down, but they definitely haven't gotten more. Definitely have gotten more tense as well. RAGNAROK gonna drop another spine crawler here with this drone, and he's just gonna slowly siege up this position here. Solar can't really afford to build up any sort of economy behind this. He needs to just keep getting more and more Lings, defend this queen, and keep things rolling for him here. The Lings just gonna pull on in. The reinforcements from RAGNAROK gonna come in and get rid of as many of these Lings from Solar as they can, but I think Solar just barely has enough to clean this up, and now it's just going to come down to the push across the map. A little bit of a banter between these two. I don't know if it's good or bad. Solar having a good laugh as RAGNAROK laughs back. And I think RAGNAROK knows at this point he's probably dead, but this is the slowest amount of units I've ever seen in a ZVZ. 8 supply to 7. Now, I'm pretty bad at math, but 9's a little bit more than 8. RAGNAROK saying that he has 100 drones at this point. Somehow I doubt that. I'm just going to keep it on the unit tab for a minute here. Kind of keep an eye on that, but RAGNAROK does tap out. Solar takes game number 1 in quite the way to start a grand finals. In the top left position of Lightshade, give it up for our blue Zerg. He is Solar. And his opponent, down here in the bottom right position of the map, he is RAGNAROK. And this time it is Solar going for the spawning pool first. Going to be looking to punish RAGNAROK for his insolence in game number 1. And you know what? RAGNAROK has no idea that this is coming. He's got his own hatch up. But it's going to be interesting to see how Solar follows this up. Is he going to bring the drones in? Looks like the answer is no. Instead, he's just going to expand behind this. So this is relatively light pressure going to be coming out from him. Still, that light pressure is going to be enough to kind of force RAGNAROK into a bit of an overextension. So that's kind of the goal of this, to force him to make a ton of lings, try and defend, and like not have the economy while you're kind of teching up at home, getting your own natural up. If you can get the snipe on your opponent's natural as well, that's going to be pretty good. Now RAGNAROK is going to pull his drones, looking for the defense right now. He got to keep this alive. Just hold out until the lings come on in. Solar has expended quite a few minerals into this endeavor. 12 lings are on the map. And that hatchery is starting to get a little bit low, but now with the lings joining this fight, he should be able to clean this up. And indeed, Solar not really focus firing too much, kind of just letting the dice fall as they do. He will get 4 drones, which is alright, but now he's got to be careful for the potential counterattack, as he doesn't really have any additional lings in production. So he's going to have to rely on that queen, which is kind of scary. Now that there's 3 of them, it's a lot less scary. And now Solar has taken a little bit of a lead in that drone count. As these guys just giving each other a little bit of a chat. Yeah, and you know, I kind of like it when the players get this kind of banter. It really shows how much they have respect for one another. Small fight going to be going down over there. But now we see this the transitions from both sides here. RAGNAROK is going to stick on the Ling tech just a little bit longer here, as Solar is just going to go straight into roaches. Now, this puts a relatively big timer on RAGNAROK on the amount of damage that he can do. He's getting his own Roach Warren as well behind this, but those... hang on, let me collect myself here. And basically, that's going to allow Solar a lot more time to kind of build up a huge Roach count and kind of just beat him with numbers here, as RAGNAROK going to try and come in, but that wall is sturdy. So they're having a little bit of a laugh. So it looks like RAGNAROK will be ahead in terms of the base count, though. So that's going to be more production. That's going to allow him to keep up a little bit more. Still, this is a relatively low econ game. Both sides just on 35 and 34 workers, respectively. Units lost tab still relatively bare, with RAGNAROK getting the better of the trades. It looks like Solar laughing about that positioning on that Overlord here. RAGNAROK is about to get attacked, but the roaches are in position to kind of shoo this away. Solar trying to rotate around, looking for a position to fight into while his secondary attack will go straight for the third, but the roaches will stop that. The lings will stop this one. RAGNAROK has to be careful not to get surrounded, though. Otherwise, he's going to be in a world of hurt. Back at home, Solar is going up to that lair tech. He's building up quite a big count of roaches. He's got +1 upgrades on the way. You know, while RAGNAROK is kind of just building up to defend in the early game, Solar is preparing for the late game, or the mid game. His roaches are going to be much speedier. They're going to be much better upgraded. And RAGNAROK is, again, just putting himself not only on a timer, but on the path of an all-in. He's getting the Banes. He's getting the additional Lings. And this is going to be his big Huzzah attack. He does have +1 attack on his roaches, so that's going to help out quite a bit. But here we go. He's going to look to close things out right here, right now. RAGNAROK will get the Banelings forward. They will try and detonate on top of those things. Barely not going to get them. Solar just going to look to pick off the reinforcements here as the roaches starting to break their way through. Solar being forced all the way back. But the biggest problem here is RAGNAROK's not able to reinforce this, so Defender's advantage is very, very strong. The drones are pulled, but he hits his own units with the bile. And this attack is pretty much starting to fizzle out here. The reinforcing Lings might help out a bit. The Roach Warren does not go down. I think he tried to focus fire it, and RAGNAROK is on the retreat. 8 more roaches. And from here, he has to hold on. He has to defend. I don't think he should go for another attack like that. Let's take a look at the battle report right there. Yeah, 77 Lings did go down. But, actually, you know what? That was not that bad for RAGNAROK. He got quite a few roaches with that. But again, Solar can go up to +2 attack whenever he wants. He can kind of transition a little bit. He can kind of just pump out plenty of roaches. I'm just curious as to when he's going to counterattack. That's going to be the big indicator here. RAGNAROK still has the army supply advantage, but that is something that can go down very, very quickly. And you can kind of see RAGNAROK is splitting his investment between the roaches and the Lings, because he knows that he will need some Banes to kind of help him defend, and also just have enough Lings to kind of run by while Solar is trying to attack. So I think that's kind of his big thought process here. He still doesn't have a lair to speak of, but here we go. RAGNAROK gonna fight. A lot of the army is not together for Solar. It wasn't attacking at the same time. A big run by will get deflected, but the roaches in the front have a very nice concave. It looks like, though, RAGNAROK does not have enough time in this one. GG is called. Up here in the top right position, give it up for Kaitsu Gaming's Solar. And his opponent in the bottom left side, he needs to get that reverse all sweep. For Alpha X, he is RAGNAROK and roll. And for the first time, we do not see a spawning pool first. These guys are definitely just going to try and play this one straight up. RAGNAROK, because he has no lives left. Solar, because he has all the lives in the world. But is going on over here? Why am I getting pinged? I have no clue. Yeah, right now we're seeing relatively decent openings from both sides. There still has the potential to be pretty crazy, as you could just drop down a spawning pool, or a baneling nest rather, and just go for some sort of big bane bust. Oxide does give you the kind of potential to do that, especially if your opponent tries to get greedy and go for a third hatch very, very quickly. But yeah, we'll have to see, as we're not seeing really any indicator of aggression from these guys. Just kind of queening up, droning up, linging up. Yeah, everything's relatively equal here, except Solar is trying to sneak out a couple of additional drones here to kind of just pull ahead. I kind of like that, you know? Early game ZVZ is pretty much just, how can I get the little bits of advantages? 1 or 2 extra drones can mean the world in terms of how a fight goes. 50 extra minerals. You got an extra set of links. You have your third base just a little bit quicker. In fact, RAGNAROK does have an indicator that this third base is down. He sees it. And he also sees the fact that Solar does have his baneling nest. So back at home, he's going to pump out quite a few lings. Not just for defense, but also to maybe try and punish. So RAGNAROK is also going to play it safe, go straight for the Roach Warren, but he finds the third base with all of these lings, and he's just going to go for the kill on it so far. Solar is going to pull everything to defend, but I don't know if he's going to have enough here. The banelings coming in relatively late and not able to get on top of it just yet. Solar just going to dive on top. Or RAGNAROK, rather, will dive. He will lose quite a few lings for it. 23 to be precise. But in the end, he does get that base, and that was a big investment, a big gamble for Solar. Now RAGNAROK will be ahead in terms of that roach count, and that's going to allow him to be as aggressive as humanly possible here. We don't see any additional drones. He has capped himself at 25. Now, even though Solar has begun that drone production, he's trying to re-drop down that third base. That is quite a big investment for him. Small little bit of a Ling war in here. The baneling gonna shoo the tide in Solar's favor. As these lings kind of making their way forward here, RAGNAROK going to be looking for the kill. The Queens getting surrounded. The banelings in the backfield going to get crushed. A huge bile going to crush through 2 of those roaches. And RAGNAROK is looking absolutely solid right now. He may start to get pushed back here a little bit, but he has done quite a bit of damage to this Solar. More lings on the way. Gonna drone up behind it as well, which I do like. He's not gonna kind of stop himself or stunt his growth, but he is still being hyper aggressive with all of this. Things have calmed down just slightly. Both of these guys, remember, still don't have a lair, so they are stuck on these tier 1 armies for right now. Solar will have the upgrade lead here as long as he kind of holds out for a little bit. RAGNAROK will be hot on his heels with that. checking on a couple of things. Sorry about that. But yeah, things have kind of slowed down, kind of petered out here. RAGNAROK's still looking for a couple of angles, but he knows he's not really going to be able to get in there. So instead, he's just going to drone as heavily as possible, kind of build up this lead. Take a look at these army sides here. That will allow Solar to kind of steamroll ahead in terms of that army, but as time goes on, these extra workers are going to make the Remax of RAGNAROK super powerful. You know what? Solar is prepping for a pretty big push here. RAGNAROK trying to find an angle in, but the Banelings do kind of shoo that away. Stop anything of the sort. Get a pretty good surround on quite a few of these roaches. Will stunt the growth of the army. And in the front, he will get a bile off. Getting rid of some of the roaches. Defender's advantage is a very big deal in ZVZ. As 9 more roaches on the production tab. Lair has finished up. So RAGNAROK will start to kind of inch his way ahead. A big bile going to go down. Getting rid of one of the Ravagers as well. The Lings in the front trying to buffer for these roaches. And keep in mind, Solar is completely all in with this. He needs to get a lot of damage done if he even hopes to defend. So far, he's doing a pretty good job of it. The army is not fighting all together, so it's not as effective as it could be. And so Solar is able to crush through a 20 army supply advantage for Solar. The Biles pushing back the rest of the roaches, and GG is called.